and we can start our lecture today. Yes, good morning everyone. Welcome back to our class. Today our topic is technology and information management. I know that most of you are familiar with technology today, and some of you guys are from MIS department and they are more into that topics, technology and their relation to management. Today we will briefly mention about them. I mean, of course we don't have the time to get into details of the MIS topics, but generally why does MIS matters? By MIS I'm talking about management information systems. Some of you may be not aware of this, but this is a very important topic, guys, okay? And the future of our management, future of our business, future of our world is all related to technology. So you need to, whether you are a MIS student or not, or other departments, you need to know how technology works in business place. It's very important. Otherwise, you cannot be successful in the future. For example, when you go start working in a company as a sales manager, or in marketing department, or in accounting department, or any place, you will deal with some computer programs, softwares, and you will deal with some technological issues, right? And you are lucky because actually you are born into these technologies, right? In everyday life, we use these technologies intensively. However, by using technology, I don't mean to be active in social media or to watch some TV series or Netflix or using computers, using social media is not what I mean. By knowing what technology, how technology works, requires some deeper competence, deeper ability to be, for example, in your academic life, you are preparing some homeworks, right, assignments, and you are using Microsoft Word, right? And Microsoft Word is maybe, most of you think that you know how to use Microsoft Word, right? It's very easy. You just open a blank page and write something down, right? It's very easy. It seems very easy. However, there are many different features, right, of this particular program that you need to know. I mean, while you are designing a homework assignment, in terms of the style, in terms of the design of the paper, and there are many tools. So, yes, I want to ask you to mute yourselves, okay, when you enter the class, so you cannot interrupt my course by this way. But even if Microsoft Word, there are so many things that you need to know, right? There are so many advanced tools that you can use to improve your product quality, right? I mean, think about the rest of the programs like Excel, PowerPoint, and go more specific programs like that you draw some 3D pictures, right? 3D printing, or AutoCAD, or some developing software programs like C++, right? Writing down your own, for example, creating a web page. I mean, it's very easy now for most, but these are the critical knowledges, I mean, that you need to know, that you need to be aware of. Otherwise, most probably you cannot compete with the future workers, right? Okay, so why does it matter? Why information, why technologies matter for companies? So let's firstly talk about information technology, right? Business people, managers need information, right, to make a decision. I mean, you want to make a decision. For example, you are asked to buy some raw material to your company, okay? And you are asked to which company do you need to buy? They ask you to that. So how do you decide that? I mean, you just decided with your gut feeling, okay, I like this company, this looks fancy, and just go buy from them, from that supplier. But why not other suppliers, but that supplier that you choose? I mean, how can you explain this, right? So you need to make the decision based on some information about these companies, right? Whether they are reliable, whether their quality is reliable, whether their customer service, support service is good, right? All of these actually requires some information, right? Or, for example, you have a managerial decision you need to make. Where to build up your new store? Where in Ankara? For example, you want to open up a new restaurant. Okay, where do you want to? Where should you open it? In Çankaya, in Çayyolu, in Keçiören, in Dikmen, where? How do you decide this? Right? With your gut feeling, or based on some information. So in every aspect of business life, these decisions needed to be based on accurate, right, true information, right? And this requires something, okay, some ability, some capability to discriminate between what is a useful information, what is not a useful information, right? Sometimes because you have so much information outside, right? Everything is available outside in terms of numbers, reports, and information on the customers, suppliers, industry, you know, but which one is useful for you, which one is not? Actually, this is a critical question, critical criteria for success. If you cannot handle your information in a good way, okay, if you cannot discriminate this, you will most probably be unsuccessful. So what's the useful information then? All of these listed here, right? It must be accurate. Accurate, I mean, accurate means true. I mean, if the information is not true, right? For example, you think that the average age of Ankara is 32. However, in reality, it is 40, right? And you based on your marketing strategy on inaccurate information of the age, the average age is less than that you imagine, right? So this is something bad, right? If you don't have the accurate information. Secondly, timely. I mean, you need to get the information in time, right? If you don't get it in time, you maybe face some problems. I mean, you need to make a decision before this year's ends, right? 2020, but the information will come to you 1 month later. I mean, so it's not a useful information, it is over. It must be complete. The information must be covering all the things, all the necessary things that you require, right? I mean, okay, I have information with some aspect of my target customers. I mean, I know some of them, but not all of them. I know, for example, some part of university students in Ankara. I know them. I know how they feel, how they want to consume. I know what their needs, skills, but I don't know the rest of the students in Turkey. So I cannot make a general strategy on university students in Turkey, right? It must be complete. It must be relevant to you. Sometimes there are unnecessary information that you don't use, right? I mean, you don't need that information, and this is a very big problem because there are so many information out there, and you need to find the one which is relevant to you. It must be concise and must reach the right people, right time and the right form, right? This is the useful information definition. Look at that example, okay? This is a classical working flow, working information flow in a typical company, right? So we have these departments in here in the yellow boxes: accounting, marketing, R&D, purchasing, manufacturing, inventory control, and distribution. So all of them, and customers, of course, the external stakeholders, customers, government, bank, and vendors. So you always have an information flow between these departments and externally, internally and externally. You flow information, you change information, right? For example, the customers actually make a payment for you and you give them some invoices, right? And customers make orders from the marketing department, get the orders, right? And customers give you new ideas, and your research and development product department need to know these ideas. So these kind of things, I mean, look at them individually, one by one, everything. If there is some problem with that arrows, right? For example, if you don't know what is the idea of the customers about the new products, your R&D could not be successful, right? You don't know what their need is. Or let's say your distribution finished goods, right, need to go to the customers. If you don't know your customers, let's say address as well, right? If you mix them, you cannot distribute them effectively, right? You just ship the shipment to wrong place if you don't have an accurate system who can exchange the information. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can increase the examples, but the main idea here is all of these arrows in that picturized version of company shows us information flows, which are very important, right? So how can we handle this better, in a better way? By using technology, right? By using computers. I mean, if you, for example, use softwares, use databases, right? If you, for example, add your customers on that databases, you don't have a, for example, you don't do a wrong thing in distribution, right? You don't send the material to the wrong customer because it's on the computer system. I mean, there are less error when you compare to it individually. Okay, let's look at this data. What's the data then? There's a difference between data and information. We will come to that point. But data are defined as the recorded facts and statistics relevant to a particular decision and problem. And if you collect this data into some place, you call it database, and we have the definition of data warehousing and data mining. Data warehousing, if you build some organized central databases for your files, for your functional areas like accounting, marketing, operating, and other departments, you call it data warehousing. And what is data mining then? Data mining, actually, you use a software to find the accurate data, identify valuable data to solve your specific problem. I mean, there's a huge number of data out there. You need to mine them, you need to find the accurate ones and collect it, use it, right? So what's the difference between this data mining and data warehousing? Data mining, process of discovering patterns in large data sets, right? So you use some statistical methods to find some patterns. But warehousing, just extracting, transforming, and looting data from multiple sources. I mean, warehousing is collecting data from outside of the world and put it into your databases, right? Store them. But data mining is analyzing them and discover patterns to support your decision making. It's very important. Data mining is maybe more important than warehousing, right? You may store your data, but you don't know how to use them. Data mining is very important, and our MIS students will face this a lot. There are huge programs to effectively use this data mining technologies for companies, okay? So what's the data and information? What is the difference between them? Generally, data are raw, unorganized facts, and that need to be processed, okay? And they could be random and useless if you do not use them, if you do not organize them. But information is something after you reach when you process the data, organize the data, structure the data, then we call it an information. So data is out there. For example, it's a very simplistic example, but think about that. Okay, how many cars exist in Ankara? Okay, I mean, and you found out that there are, let's say, 2 million individual cars in Ankara. It's a data, right? I mean, it's a number. 2 million cars exist in Ankara. It's a fact. It's real. It's a statistical fact there. How could you turn that into information? So let's say you are a fuel oil company. Okay, you have some. You are selling some fuels. Okay, and you want to know how many of the cars, right? How many of the cars actually are used in Ankara, right? Some people may not use their cars. They're just staying in the front of their apartments. And how often they go to buy some fuels, right? And where are actually they are more crowded, right? In which places there are more cars, in which roads there are more traffics, right? So when you process all of these data, I mean, these are all data, all questions are data, and you come up with that information. Okay, in the center of Ankara, in Kızılay, okay, every day there are thousands of cars are moving and coming into that place of Ankara, and I want to open up my place to there. Okay, this is the information, right? You know how much car are going there, how much liters of fuel they need, right? So these kind of questions, I mean, you can use them, you can turn them into an accurate information that you can use. Otherwise, the number of cars in Ankara alone does not tell you something, right? It's just a data. I mean, I hope it's clear for you, data and information. You need to turn that data into information. This is a very important strategic factor for success. Yes, you know what kind of questions exist before turning that data into a meaningful information. You know, you need to know where to obtain that data, how to obtain that data, right? I mean, these are important questions. Sometimes there are some companies who collect this data, okay, some research companies. For example, you go ask them, okay, give me some numbers, collect this data for me, and they do that. Or there are some statistical centers like TÜİK, Türkiye İstatistik Kurumu, right? They collect the statistics about Turkey in various fields. You can obtain them, you can use them. Sometimes you need to pay some money, right, to get some detailed information. And you know how to do that. You need to know how to do that to gather the data. And you need to classify the data by location, where, Ankara, Istanbul, where do you collect the data, and the purpose of why you collected data. For a marketing purpose, for an accounting purpose, for an investment purpose, investment decision purpose. You need to, for example, invest, you want to open up a solar energy central, let's say. So you need the data of in which geographies of Anatolia there are more suns yearly, right? Sunny days. Sunny days must be more if you want to open up a solar system, if you want to locate it in a sunny places, right? So you need that data. I mean, for example, in Antalya, in Mersin, there are more suns, right? More sunny days in a year when you compare it to Black Sea region. So it's an important data for you, important information for you to make your decision where to invest your solar system place, right? To group the data, you can use internal and external sources by location, right, and purpose, primary data and secondary data. What are those? Let me tell briefly about this. Internal data, they are available in the company's own records. For example, data on your customers. I mean, you know what your customers. I mean, how much they spend average in your company, right? What are their some demographics, their gender, their age, their addresses, their telephone numbers. You know that these are internal data. Some external data that could be obtained from outside sources, like I said, give the example of TÜİK, is an external data, right? Or some other research company who collect this kind of data that you want to use. These are external data groups. Primary data are the facts, statistics, and information not previously published. You collect them, you publish them first. Okay, this is your primary way. And secondary data that you use some previously published, collected data. I mean, it's published in a report, and you use that report. It's a secondary data. But you go collect that data, and you publish, you create a report. This is a primary data. This is a classification. Secondary data is generally less costly because someone have reported it, right? Speed more fastly you can reach that data and it's available. But somehow it has some disadvantages as well. It could be old. It could not be relevant to your specific purpose. I mean, you, for example, need data in your marketing department, but some other guy in the same sector prepared a report in, let's say, accounting department for the purpose of accounting. They made it. So you may use that data, but somehow it's unrelevant to you because you want to know what are the customers' needs, what their expectations, their perceptions. But this report only gives you some numbers, how much they spent, what is their general income level, this kind of stuff. Of course, they are valuable for you somehow, but they may not be a full fit for you, to fit your purposes. It could be a disadvantage. Yes, as I said, it could be impartial. I mean, not full, but partial. And sometimes maybe this report is written with a low quality people, right? You don't know whether it's an expert that writes the report or just they made it up, right? How can you be sure that this data is obtained accurately, right? How can you be sure? These are. Another thing that we use to compare our success level, compare companies' success level, is indexes, okay? What does an index mean? Its definition is a percentage representing the amount of fluctuation between base and current figure. What do we mean by that? Let's give me that example. For example, you write down the price of milks according to years, okay? In 1982, it was $1 for 1 liter. So you take that year, 1982, as your base year, okay? And after that, each year, you just look at the fluctuations. What was the price of milk in 1983? It increased to 1.25, okay? And it goes like that, 1.50 and 2. So when you take the first year as a base and give them an index number of 100, okay? You can see that in the next year, this index number increased to 125, and then 150, and then 200. So that you can make a comparison. For example, think of you do that till today, okay? And you can see the index number because you want to know that how much there is a change, right, in the price of milk. I mean, and sometimes the dollar in dollar terms or TL terms, it does not give you a. For example, if you don't know what is the index, okay, you just say that this is the price of milk today. I mean, how come you can decide it's a good price or bad price? So you need to look at the previous old price of that. The indexing gives you that opportunity to make a comparison between, right? Between these things. Another important thing that we use a lot in our lectures and in the management as well, these three definitions: mean, median, and mode. What are those? Okay, mean means the average, okay? Average in a group of items. So you sum up all of the individual items in your sample, you sum up them, and you just divide them the number of the group, number of items of the group, okay? This is mean, average, ortalama. So in our example here, as you see, the total is 63,000, and when you divide it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, when you divide it to 9, when you divide it to 9, you get the number of 7,000. It's the mean, okay? It's the average sales amount of your company, okay? If you just see, these are the your let's say salesperson who make the sales. Their average sales is $7,000. So what's the median? Median is the midpoint, is found by ranking items from lowest to highest. Okay, it's the midpoint. Then you just estimate this from the lowest to the highest. At the center of that, there is a number. We call it a median. Okay, and the mode is the number that occurs most often in any series. Okay, let's see that these three salesperson have actually the same amounts of sales, right? We call it a mode. These are individually important, but generally the most used one is the mean here. Okay, the mean, the most average number is used. Okay, what is the average number of sales that salesperson do? And when you compare these salespersons' performance, you use that mean. Okay, for example, Wilson here is have a bad performance when you compare to others, right? Wimber has an average performance, but these guys have a more than average good performance, right? So you can make this kind of inferences. It's very important. A good example of data, okay, turning into information. These are product sales, let's say, by month. This is data, right? This does not tell us a meaningful information. It's just numbers. How can we turn into these information, right? When we compare it like in that graphs, that's our sales, right? They increase. For example, for the product, it is 15,000. Okay. For product B, it is 8,000. For product C, it is more than 26,000, and its product D is 18,000. So your average monthly sales, you take the average of them, you make a graphical representation of it. So you can see that which product is having more sales, and you can make a decision. Okay, my product B is weak, I need to invest in this, or my product C is a star, is very good, and I can sell it more, right? These kind of things actually give you more information. What kind of diagrams that you can use in business reports? It's very important, right? Let's look at them. Okay, sorry. This is what we call the pie chart. Like a pie, you give the percentages. This is line graph for the years, according to years. What is the profits? How they increase, right? You can see, compare the yearly increase, yearly changes in your sales or profits, let's say. A bar chart, you can do it with bar chart as well. Instead of a line, you can show them as bars, right? And pictograph, for example, each person here represents 1,000 workers. So you can see that your worker numbers have been increasing a lot, right? But there's a decrease after 1990. So you can read these pictographs like that, or statistical maps. In a map, you can see where are your warehouses, where are your stores, right? How do you dominate the market? I mean, you can give the representation on a map as well. These are diagrams used in business reports, and you also, I suggest you to learn how to use them, how to build up them in Microsoft Excel, especially, or other programs, and use them in your reports. These are very good representation of reports. Instead of, for example, reading a full paragraphs, when you look at this line graph, you can see it. I mean, you can write it one by one, each in one sentence, but no one wants to read that, right? It's more complicated. For example, you can say in 1975, our profits was $400 million. In 1980, it increased to $500 million. Blah, blah, blah. But you need to write it very long paragraphs, very boring paragraphs. But when you put it into a line graph like that, right, it's very easy to see it in just one glance. So these are good. Use them. Operations Information System, by the way, CEO means Chief Information Officer. I mean, you know what CEO is, right? Chief Executive Officer. And in some companies, there is a high-level manager for information systems as well, for information management as well. They call it Chief Information Officer. Okay. So there are operational information system, transaction processing systems, and there are management support systems. How do you support your decision systems? Let's look at them a little bit. I will come to them one by one in detail. This is why I am going. Yes, for example, decision support systems. Okay, so using computers, okay, you help managers to make better decisions. How? I mean, by looking at an Excel file, okay, and by looking at the previous sales, for example, a manager can decide that, okay, I expect to see, let's say, 100,000 of units of sale this month because it's our average sale, okay, and I see that our customer groups are divided into these, and this customer target group are more available, more reachable. I mean, we can support them. We can make a decision to target them, for example. But you are using that by looking at the previous data, and computers actually, or software systems actually help you to do that, right? They analyze you. They say that, okay, invest in that. Or they analyze you and say that, okay, look at that product division. Look at that service division. There's a problem. Or Sometimes, for example, you create some alerts, some signals. For example, you say that if any of my salesperson just decrease below the level of sales, just inform me. For example, you have thousands of salespersons, but you just they automatically collect the data, the computer collect data, and when there's a problem, it creates an alert. I mean, otherwise you cannot do it one by one on your own, but computers can do it very easily, very fast, right? This is a decision support system, for example. Executive support system is a sophisticated version of these decision support systems to meet the needs of the top managers. For example, top managers want to decide, give some performance appraisals to their workers. Some of their workers are given high performance, provide high performance, some of them are not. And they can see it by these support systems as well, right? Which employee made more performance. I mean, they can see it with the numbers, and computer can calculate very easily. And they give you a list. This is your salesperson A. He made this amount of success, and B, this. And this is the executive support system. And also group decision support system is a similar function, okay? And its function is at team level. Artificial intelligence, what is that? You heard this, right? Yapay zeka. Behavior by a machine that, if performed by a human being, would be called intelligent. Already possible to write programs that can solve problems and perform simple tasks. Artificial intelligence is a very prospective area in the future of businesses, right? Because they create some robotics, right? Or they create some computer programs, make a decision, and they can write down some preconditions to make them decisions, not humans, but decisions by machines, decisions by computers, right? So, for example, when they feel that some less environmental conditions is wrong, they can, for example, make some precautions. For example, let's say the temperature level is very important, very crucial for production. And when temperature level is low or high, I mean, you can order the machine, the computer, to stop the operations if necessary, right? For example, maybe humans cannot realize that as efficient as a big computer, right? I mean, because they have all this information gathering in the computer software, and they can make fast decisions. And artificial intelligence is actually the future of the management. I mean, the machines and computers are, let's say, acting like human beings, right? Very, very different area, very complicated area, but I suggest you to learn that more. Enterprise Resource Planning System, ERPC. It's a multi-model application software, okay, a software. Most of the company use these kind of softwares in their computers to make connection in their activities, operations, right? From their production to accounting, marketing, sales. And when a manager go on in front of its computer, he can control, he can see any information about its company, okay? This is very important. I mean, this is very important. For example, you need to know how is production going. You need to know how is sales going. And you cannot ask every time your employees, right? There should be a software. All the information is submitted in that software, and you can see it simultaneously. Very important. Yes, it helps, this ERPC system. It helps to each individual function improve in functional level skills and improve integration among all functions. So they work together, build a competitive advantage for the company. I mean, you can see fastly. I mean, time is very important, right? If there's a problem, this system can show you beforehand. It's very important. It creates a synergy sometimes. It shows you where the problem is really, right? And it's very important for a company. Of course, another important thing is e-commerce systems. I mean, I think most of the trade is moving to internet, right? And in the future, we will see it more intensively. Maybe we won't need more shopping malls. Actually, in United States, the big shopping malls are closing one by one. Why? Because people are more using internet. They don't go to shopping malls to shop when you compare to the old years, right? Previous years. They like more to buy from internet. And think of yourselves. I mean, maybe 5 years ago, none of you were using this kind of e-commerce sites, websites, but now everyone is using that, right? And of course, with the impact of COVID-19, these e-commerce systems are going crazy. You see that. I mean, you're aware of that as well. There are two versions of it, by the way, which is important. First one is if you make a trade between companies, we call it B2B commerce, okay? Business to business commerce. So, I mean, for example, you are a company, you go, you want to buy some raw materials, and you buy it from internet, from another company. This is what we call B2B commerce, okay? And it's used a lot, B2B, B2C. But if you sell directly your products to individual customers, it's called B2C commerce, okay? B2B, B2C. This is important. Okay, what else? Lastly, information systems and organizational levels. As you see here, there are in the bottom of that pyramid, there is business operations, daily operations, operational management of daily activities, tactical management, and at the top, strategic management at the CEO level, big decisions. So we can say that management information systems are accurate for decision support systems, information reporting systems, and executive information systems are more tactical and strategic, right? It gives you more investment related or big decision related information. But operations information systems are more daily related to daily operations, daily process control systems. This is an important distinction between management information system and operation information system. Okay, this is daily. Operation information system is daily. There are daily decisions. For example, there's a problem in the assembly line. There's a problem in the service. There's a problem in one of the salesperson, or there's a problem in one of the products. It gives you an alert. This operation information system. It gives you the ability to quickly solve that problem. This is very good. This is very important. But what about some bigger decisions, like where to invest, which business to invest, how to compete, which product to, which new products, right? Where to R&D activities. This kind of things are more related to management information system. Okay. Lastly, this is something very interesting I wanted to share additionally to you guys. There is a new concept which is called dark factory. Okay. And I think in China, they are trying that one. In these dark factories, there is no light, okay? Why there is no light in that factory? Because only robots are working in that factory. There is no human. Humans are just behind the computers, outside of the factory, just monitoring the process. And all of the production is handled by artificial intelligence and handled by robots. And there is no need for lights because they don't need to see, right? I mean, they are just robots. So they call them dark factories. And I believe that this is the future of our business styles, right? In the future, they won't need regular workers. I mean, robots can do that. So how can we find jobs then, right? It's some kind of scary, right? Dark factories, just robots are producing everything and they don't need people to work on that. But how can we find jobs, right? Is it a threat for us? Maybe, maybe not. But what could be wise to invest your skills, right? Invest your technological skills, guys, for you especially to find jobs in that future world, right? Because in the future world, the companies will ask for workers who know information technology issues, who know computer softwares, who understand how to deal with a robot, who understand how to solve the problems, technological problems, okay? Yes, this is the end of the story. There is some question from Dennis, I guess. He asked, what is the IT? IT is information technology. Okay. Any questions on that issue? Anything that you are you want to know, you want to ask? What I suggest you guys, okay, just increase your knowledge about these information technologies. Increase your knowledge about new technologies. I mean, it's very important. In the future, you will compete with some employee candidates. There will be other candidates for example, job applications. Maybe there are 10, 20, sometimes 100 more people will apply the same job for you, right? How can you distinguish yourself from them? Okay, in classical terms, okay, you graduated from a good university, you know English, okay, good, but you need to add something. You need to add some technological knowledge as well. What it could be, for example, it could be a software thing. I mean, you can invest in your skills about software development, or you can increase your skills on Microsoft programs, like using them in advanced level. And it's not an easy thing to do. Don't think that Microsoft Word is an easy thing, okay? Or PowerPoint or Excel. There are many, how can I say, complicated advanced versions of them, okay? Or I suggest you to learn, for example, 3D technologies, okay? 3D printing technologies. It will be the future of the production. I mean, you just design something on the computer programs and you send it to the 3D printers. They can print them. They can even print human body parts, okay, with 3D printers. For example, they can process kidneys in 3D printers. I mean, they can process teeth. They can process ears. They can process some tissues on your to put your body, okay. So it's an unbelievable technology. Or what else? I mean, number of things that exist there. Artificial intelligence, another one of them. And what else? For example, e-commerce, right? E-commerce, or how to use social media, how to use Google to increase the products or awareness of you. There's a question from someone you can ask. Yavuz Selim, do you want to ask question? Or you mistakenly click? Raise one. I think nothing more. Okay. Let me tell you this, by the way. Our final exam will be on the first day of the final weeks, which is the 25th of January, okay? This will be your final date. I will announce it in the IBSM, but let me tell you from this. So we have 1 month. Yes, we left with 3 weeks from now on. We will continue our lectures. We will continue our quizzes, and then we will have our final exam. Okay.